Hello, welcome to the Whatever Show. I'm Alex Drake.
I'm Dragon Bat. And today we're going to talk about one of my favorite things in the world, a disaster movie. And this one is one of the disasters that the whole world is waiting to happen because we all know it's going to happen. It's overdue. And that is the San Andreas.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the San Andreas Fault, and in particular we're talking about the movie San Andreas with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now this is one of two disaster movies that Dwayne has been in that are actually pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
The other one being Skyscraper or something like that.
Yeah.
We'll look it up, bring it to you later.
Yeah.
The thing is, San Andreas was pretty good. The cast was very decent.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got Athena's daughter.
Yeah.
As that explains it. Athena had the daughter with The Rock. Okay. If you're not following this, folks, the young lady that plays as The Rock's daughter also was in Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief, where Percy Jackson was the son of Poseidon. She's the daughter of Athena. And she is, number one, amazingly hot.
Yeah.
Number two, I mean, that bikini scene in the beginning was just like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
But this show, basically, although there is, a family getting together, fighting over the odds to rejoin, this show's about the disaster.
Yeah.
And the disaster is good. We got California getting taken down.
Yep. It's like someone just decided, you know what, let's destroy the fault.
The fault shall now split apart.
Yeah.
Boom.
And not slowly. Let's make it start off with a little bit of quicks, and then, and screw it, let's make it go big.
I mean, the thought process in it was well done.
Mm-hmm.
I love starting out by taking out the Hoover Dam.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Your main geologist and his assistant are there to prove a theory, and they prove it right, but his assistant, the person who's been working with him, dies in the process, and that is a dude that's two thumbs up, man.
Yeah.
He dies saving a little girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you call when you're gonna.
And right about before he's died, he told the little girl, "Close your eyes."
And then Lake Mead comes through and says, "Doot doot, chugga chugga chugga." Now, what would have been really cool is if they'd have shown Laughlin. Now, as I told my son last night when we rewatched this show, Lake Mead is north on the Colorado River. It's the dam it is what the dam makes. The Hoover Dam, by being where it is, blocks water up, giving us Lake Mead. Now, just downriver from there, not too far, is Laughlin, Nevada, and it's right on the river. And that's a lower point of the river. So when this dam went boom, and it did well doing that.
Yeah, it didn't just go boom, it went...
All that water went downriver. Now, they do tell us basically when they're playing snips from the news in this thing, that the towns of Laughlin and Bullhead City and so on and so forth are toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be.
On the river? Now they're in the river.
Now they're under the river.
Yeah. They are the river now.
Now, once upon a time, I lived in Las Vegas and I used to drive a charter bus. And one of the charters we did was down to Laughlin so that people could lose their money in those casinos too. And we used to stay at a hotel there called the Showboat, which was designed to look like an old paddle wheel boat from Mississippi Paddle Wheels. I'm sitting there watching this show thinking, man, I hope that paddle wheel was actually a little bit more legitimate, but even then, I don't think it's going to help you when that wave just goes slap. But that's the first wave we hear of. There's going to be another one. So, as we see with our great scientist, he realizes the San Andreas fault is going to go boom. And he predicts the second earthquake moments before it happens. Well, he's being interviewed by some chick.
Yeah.
And as all this is progressing, the really cool part, and yeah, this is a spoiler alert, folks.
Yeah.
There's a scene in here where the professor, the scientist, says that we're at Caltech. I'll get this.
Yeah,
And he runs into the media center and says, who wants to get an independent study and make an A on how to hack into the media to save lives? And this guy's like, dude, I'm in. And they hack into the media and they report the fact that San Francisco, you're FUBAR.
And he even said, it's not if it's going to happen, but when.
And actually, he tells them this is going to happen momentarily. And actually,
And you'll feel it on the East Coast.
that's an earthquake. So, as all this is progressing, you have Dwayne Johnson's character. He's a helicopter pilot, flies search and rescue for LA County Fire Department. You see him in the very beginning saving some chick's life who has driven off a cliff and
Thanks to
about to die. They save her. The next thing that you see him doing is he saves his ex-wife.
From a building. Like a bomb.
The building that is collapsing during the first earthquake. He saves her. And as they're sitting there, they're going like, oh, Lord, we got to go save our daughter. So they're going to fly to San Francisco from Los Angeles in a helicopter. That doesn't work. They steal a car. They hit a giant chasm that wasn't there before. They trade the car, which they stole, for a plane that they stole, and they head to San Francisco. Now, they get to San Francisco right after the second big earthquake. And, I mean, the city is just a mess. How do they get there? Well, they can't land because there's no place to land. So they put their stolen plane on autopilot and they parachute out and they land in the baseball park. Right there on the tip of the waterfront. And this is pretty good. So now they're all set to go look for their daughter who's supposed to go to this one building, the Coit building. But that's on the other side of a bunch of fires. So she's going to go elsewhere. Now we're going to stop and we're going to back up. His daughter, who has gone to San Francisco with her mom's boyfriend, soon to be future husband. Future husband, big architect, building great buildings. While she's sitting in his lobby waiting on him, she meets the other two characters of our story. We meet Ben and Ollie. They're brothers. Ben's applying for a job with her soon to be, well, what would have been soon to be stepfather. But soon to be stepfather ditches her during the earthquake. Leaves her in the basement in the limo.
Trapped.
Tells her, I'll let somebody know you're here. And he goes out and he's wandering the streets in somewhat of a daze, just showing how much of a douche he could be. Meanwhile, Ben and Ollie see that douchebag is left without her. They go down and they save her, get her out of the car. Then they come out and they're on the streets. Now they need to get help. So they go and they make a phone call. How? They break into an electronics shop, call it a landline. Why? Cell phones are FUBAR. Now these three basically go try to get to the Coit building, realize they can't, looking for someplace else, and end up in their
and douches.
Yeah, end up inside the douches building that is being built to try to get away from the weather and everything else. Now, this is about the same time that her dad lands, dad and mom, who have now parachuted out of a plane, landed in the baseball stadium, and all hell is breaking loose. So he tells everybody, run into the stadium. You'll be safe. And then they get them all in the building. Everything's good. And he looks out, and he's like, well, what we'll do is we'll take a boat and go around. So they steal a boat. Man, this dude is stealing left and right. Steals a car, steals a plane, steals a boat.
He stole the car from people who were stealing TVs and stole that car.
That's true. I don't know if they stole that car or not, but either way, he's in a boat, and all of a sudden, the ocean starts receding, going away from land. Those of you that have been around a while know what this means. Tidal wave. And they use this little boat, and they go up one side of the wave and come down safely on the other. And then, I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially whenever you get one of the best scenes in the movie right there, because this tidal wave takes a giant tanker ship, turns it up on its side, and smacks the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yep. And Douche dies by his own crate.
Yep. A crate off this boat slaps down on top of the douche. The douche is pudding.
Hey, if he didn't die then, he'd die later on.
The classic part of it, of course, was if you slowed it down, you would see this container was his. Mm-hmm. He's like, that's called irony.
Yeah. Hey.
All right, so long story short, they go back into town. They're driving up and down the streets that are now halfway flooded, and they save the others. This is a good show. Mm-hmm. The great show when it comes to disasters. You get earthquakes, you get tsunami, you get San Francisco getting toasted, you get LA getting toasted, you get the Hoover Dam becoming gone. This was good.
Mm-hmm. And like in every disaster movies, they take off the bridge. It's like a rule.
You got to take out a bill.
California.
Got to take out the Golden Gate.
Have to take out Golden Gate.
Unless
otherwise, you're not a disaster movie. You're not a good disaster. Because it seems like every disaster movie have to take out Golden Gate.
It's got to take out something.
Yeah, real major landmark.
Right. Now, for those of you that saw our review of Greenland, you'll notice that we complained about the love story in that one and how it basically became the main point of the show. This one had a nice little family trying to get together, but the main point of the show was the disasters.
The romance part was put on the back burner as disasters.
It was done to make the disaster more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're seeing LA go boom.
Boom.
This is good already.
That is hilarious.
But when he has to fly this chopper up to save his ex-wife, I mean, there's parts of you that are sitting back going, dude, she's divorcing your butt.
And you save her.
I'd let her die.
Mm-hmm. And the douche's sister also died, so...
That was a win.
That ending the douche.
And she's sitting there telling him how she doesn't think she's good enough to be part of their family.
And then you did.
You're sucking daisies, dumb.
Hey, I don't think there's any more steps there.
Another great part is when they're in the helicopter and the daughter tells the mom, but he left me.
He left me.
He just left me here.
Ah.
And then she calls him up and says, you better hope you're dead, because if you're not, I'm going to kill you. That's the mother to her boyfriend.
And then the dad just goes...
I mean, this show had humor, it had suspense, and it had disaster. Overall, definitely giving it 2 thumbs up. Mm-hmm. So between
it's in the top 3.
Yes, it's in the top. Yeah, I'd give it the top 3 disaster movies. Mm-hmm. They did really well. Mm-hmm. The Rock did great in his performance. Athena's daughter, awesome as always. Mm-hmm. Overall, and I love the 2 British nerds.
Yeah.
Ollie was great.
Come on, getting her number for his brother.
Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah.
Okay, what we're talking about, there's this scene where she's waiting on, what's his name? Douche is talking to his people in his building, and she's sitting in the lobby, and Ben is there sitting, and he introduces himself, and they chat for a moment, and then Ollie shows up, the younger brother of Ben, and at one point Ollie says, Can I have his number? Can we have your number for him? Because otherwise I'm going to have to be hearing about it for the next several weeks on how he never had the guts to ask you for his number, and this is priceless. You could just see a younger brother doing this to an older brother. It's like, yeah, I don't want to hear you whine. Can we get your number? Because you're kind of hot.
Yeah.
This was great. The humor, the everything getting together, and hey, Ben got his kiss. So hey,
Yeah.
rock and roll. This was a good show. I give it 2.
I give it 2.
Overall, go see it. If you haven't seen it, buy it, rent it, download it, whatever you're going to do. Enjoy the show. Let us know what you think. And either way, folks, this has been Whatever, talking about San Andreas.
Yep.
One of our top favorite disaster movies of all times. Stay tuned this week. You'll be hearing about the all-time greatest disaster movie of all times. The best. And that'll be in a later episode. Either way, folks, sit back, enjoy yourselves. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, and don't